This phone shouldn't exist at this price. Premium aluminum frame, flagship-grade glass, 6 years of software support, and a price tag that makes you question everything you thought you knew about mid-range. The Samsung Galaxy A57 is here, and it's either the smartest phone Samsung has ever made or the most expensive mid-range mistake they've ever asked you to accept. Let's find out which one. Pick up the A57, and the first thing that hits you is the hand feel. Samsung has moved to Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on both the front and back, wrapped in a cold, precision-grade aluminum frame. It doesn't feel like a mid-range phone. It feels dense, intentional. Honestly, it feels more premium than the base Galaxy S24. At just 6.9 millimeters thin, it's the slimmest A-series Samsung has ever produced, half a millimeter thinner than last year, but the difference registers immediately in hand. Here's the paradox, though. You power on this luxury-feeling hardware, and you're immediately greeted by 3 pre-installed bloatware games. It's a jarring reminder that even at $549, Samsung hasn't fully left the mid-range sandbox behind. The hardware says flagship, the software setup says otherwise. That tension never fully disappears. The 6.7-inch Super AMOLED Plus panel is where the word plus actually starts to mean something. Peak brightness levels that genuinely push back against direct sunlight. Slimmer bezels that make the viewing experience feel meaningfully more immersive than last year. A 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate that makes the entire UI feel like it's responding before your finger finishes the gesture. Yes, the chin is still there, and yes, competitors at this price point are offering more uniform bezels. That's a fair criticism. But for daily use, this display delivers a level of visual consistency that punches well above its category. It won't make you forget an S-Series Ultra, but as a daily driver screen you live with every single day, it's close to flawless. The Exynos 1680 is inside, and before that name triggers concern, here's the honest 2026 reality. The conversation around this chip isn't about raw benchmark numbers anymore. It's about stability and longevity. Paired with up to 12 gigabytes of RAM, the A57 is genuinely fast in daily use. Apps stay loaded in memory. Multitasking is smooth. Heat management during sustained usage is surprisingly disciplined, more so than previous Exynos generations. But the real performance headline isn't the chip. It's the promise attached to it. Samsung is committing to 6 years of OS updates for the A57. 6 years. This phone is engineered to remain relevant and secure until 2032. You're not just purchasing a device, you're entering a long-term partnership that outlasts most car leases and nearly every competing mid-range phone on the market. At $549, that update commitment alone changes the value calculation significantly. The hardware configuration is familiar, a 50-megapixel main sensor, ultra-wide, and macro, but the story in 2026 isn't the sensor count, it's what the software does with the data. Samsung's upgraded AI image processing is doing serious heavy lifting here. HDR on selfies is cleaner and more natural. Low-light shadow detail is genuinely improved, pulled from scenes where previous A-series cameras would have given up. The results are reliable and consistent, which matters far more in daily use than occasional spectacular shots. But here's where the honest conversation gets uncomfortable. At $549, there is still no dedicated telephoto lens. You're relying on digital crop for zoom, and in 2026, that gap is increasingly difficult to defend at this price point. The camera system is good. For the money, it should be better. And then there's the decision that will frustrate enthusiasts most. To achieve that ultra-slim 6.9mm profile, Samsung made a trade. The micro SD card slot is gone, permanently. No expansion, no workaround. You get what's in the box, and that's the end of the conversation. Some users won't care. Others will consider it a deal breaker. Both reactions are completely reasonable. Here's the honest assessment of the Galaxy A57. This is not a revolutionary phone. It's a careful, calculated, confident evolution, and Samsung executed it well. Thinner profile, tougher materials, meaningfully more premium feel, stronger software longevity than anything at this price has any right to offer. But it's also a phone testing the upper boundary of what mid-range means. At $549, every omission gets scrutinized harder. No telephoto, no expandable storage, bloatware at launch. These aren't deal breakers in isolation, but together they're the friction points that remind you exactly where this phone sits in Samsung's lineup. If you're coming from a phone that's 2 or 3 years old, this will feel like stepping into a different era. The display, the build, the performance consistency, the update promise, all of it lands. If you're a value hunter doing line-by-line comparisons at the $549 price point, the A57 will make you work for your justification. So here's the question Samsung is really asking you with this phone. Is a 6-year software commitment, a flagship-grade build, and a consistently reliable camera system worth $549, even without a telephoto lens and expandable storage? Or has Samsung finally stretched the definition of mid-range too far? Drop your answer in the comments and subscribe for the long-term battery test, because that's where phones like this either prove their promise or quietly break it.